We live? Yeah, I think it's live. People, deluded. I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. I hope you're all well and safe. I hope you're all in good spirits. Good morning to those of you in the UK and those of you not here. Obviously, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on who you are and wherever you are, people. Big up to everybody locked in. I hope you're all doing well and safe, and we're going to get through what we need to get through. But first, let me see what you lot are saying. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Also, from 7:30 today, obviously, I'll be doing a watch along in the Champions League, or for the Champions League, between Real Madrid and Chelsea. We all know, we hope Real Madrid are the ones to go and do it, but who knows? Watch along business every evening, to be fair, until Thursday. Like I said, Champions League today, Champions League tomorrow, Europa League, unfortunately, for Arsenal on Thursday. So large up everybody locked in. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you for sharing the stream and also hitting the like button. I appreciate everybody locked in. It's lovely to see the members as well. MB is saying, big up yourself, DG. Hope you're blessed. I'm blessed, my guy. I'm in good spirits, man. I'm doing decent, man. I hope Real Madrid win today. Michael is saying 2 billion. Trust me, all right, for some, innit? Personally, I don't think he's going to walk, but I've offered a lot of my opinions on that yesterday. Make sure you catch that video if you didn't. We're going to relapse and go through everything again today, more or less. And it is what it is. And to be fair with you, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said about, is there ever going to be a right owner for Arsenal Football Club or any football club in terms of ethics and things like that? But we all know, in terms of who owns us currently, certain things have to change, man. Oliver, big up yourself. Big up yourself, live from Planet X, man. I appreciate you for tuning in. And of course, love for being a member and love for donating it. I appreciate that. Hugh is saying 2 billion ain't bad, to be honest. He thinks that Daniel can do it. Ian James is saying 2 billion. I was expecting more. You know what? That's allegedly about to even get conversation started. We all know Kroenke is not selling for 2 million. 2 billion, apologies. I wish it was 2 million. He's not selling for 2 billion. Let's be real. Away from this, you have to kind of admire him as a businessman and envy him and hate the fact that he owns Arsenal Football Club. But as I just said, make sure you're hitting the like button. But as I just said, Arsenal's an attractive proposition. Let's be real. This club is a sleeping giant. In a day and age where everybody's challenging in the Premier League, if we had an owner, a manager, a collective unit in terms of a board and director and all of them sort of guys that were serious, we could be something. So I won't say it go as far as to say Arsenal's value can double, but it can rise. So that's an asset in itself. Obviously, it's essentially a tourist attraction. Let's be real. The London aspect and things. Obviously, there's a bit of using Arsenal as collateral, people, and things like that. I don't think he's gonna sell, but again, hopefully something can be done. And you have heard yesterday, apparently there was rumors a bid is being prepared. Again, the one thing that it does is it further gives fuel to the fire for fans. Like I said, I don't think he's gonna sell, but we already want the man out. We're already vocal and voting on our feet and doing what we need to do on the internet. When we hear legends are going to be involved in some sort of consortium, and you also hear that the billionaire who wants this football club, is allegedly an Arsenal fan, and there's 1-2 tweets I'm sure you've all seen resurfacing on him offering his opinions about Arsenal. So half the job's done in it. If you've got somebody who cares and wants to take the club places, then that's half the job in it. That's what Arsenal fans want, or I think that's what me as an Arsenal fan want. I don't want any divine rights to be in anything, definitely not the Super League. I don't expect to have the biggest and baddest players, but I just want to go into the weekend believing in my team, knowing what this team reflects, and knowing that, we could potentially push towards our goals. Right now, is getting into the top 4 and then doing it consistently. Obviously, it goes without saying, I'd love Arsenal to win the Premier League again and also do what they could in the Champions League. It's lovely seeing Chelsea and City in it as football fans, I guess, but as an Arsenal fan, it leaves you sour. Like I said, people, I don't think he's gonna sell the club. Like I said, it's gonna have to be something that probably puts Arsenal beyond overpriced. But let's actually get into what the internet is saying anyways, and everyone on their nan, every credible, quote unquote credible person that can actually offer their opinion is saying a lot of things, people. If we go into this, obviously I quickly, just before I came online, I was reading The Athletic and I've copied and pasted what I think is relevant. Really, I've been rushing it. It might not make any sense to you lot, people. But in relation to an article I saw via The Athletic, Daniel, on Daniel, the owner, who apparently wants to be our owner, Daniel, you know, the 38-year-old Swedish international. I keep saying international. He's not a footballer. We all know he runs Spotify. And I'm pretty sure some Spotify owners have been very vocal in saying that their bills have gone up by £2 and the shares have gone up. But apparently, you know, it said, I'm sure you all saw surfacing online that allegedly he's a massive Arsenal fan. You know, in meetings, he's watching Arsenal and things. Maybe it's right. Maybe it's propaganda. I know he's got the tweets. I don't know, innit, people. I just hope, listen, let's be real. There's never probably going to be an ideal owner. There's never probably going to be 100% ethical owner. There's 100%, you know, we don't know what my man's intentions really is. But like I said, it's better the devil you don't know than the devil you kind of do know in this aspect. And for me, if he does half give a crap about this club, then we might half improve. Like, and some improvements better than none, wouldn't you reckon, people? And obviously, you know, the man owns has shares in Spotify. They're worth 40 billion. Let's be real. Arsenal and Spotify linking up, there's commercial opportunities, which I don't care about people making money as long as they make the fans happy and care about the club. There's nothing wrong, you know. There's nothing wrong about wanting to make money and things. It's just about doing it in an ethical way, or what we would deem as an ethical way, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Going on, speaking to The Athletic on Monday, a financer who has helped several entrepreneurs buy and sell sports teams said he can't imagine a circumstance that would see the Kroenkes or any other American owner of the super club sell up. Now, again, there's pressure on the Glazers, pressure on Henry, pressure on, you know, on Arsenal, mainly the American ones, Glazers, if I haven't said them, less so on City's owner and Roman Abramovich. For whatever reason, you'd have to speak to their fans. I'm not saying their fans haven't been voting with their feet, because City fans and United fans have been linking up and making their voices heard collectively. Chelsea, you know, we all know in relation to what game was it? Brighton, people, I believe something happened. Apologies, people. I make a damn good smoothie and I couldn't resist it. But we all know. We all know this is, like I said, this is the first journey. You know, the fans are voting with their feet. The fans are making their voices heard. What we as fans can keep doing is never let up. You know, even if we win Europa League, whatever happens, it is probably unfair on the fans. I mean, on the players, the fans actually, and the manager if we do these things. But we can't never let up. There has been Kroenke out before and things like that, but it goes quiet. All of us when we're winning all certain things. So we need to keep that up. Also, this, like I said at the start, this gives fuel to the fire, because again, you want the man out anyways. You hear a fan allegedly wants the club. You see what he wants to do allegedly with the legends that are coming back to the club, which we'll expand a bit on that actually in a bit more detail in a second. But you know, we know it's going to take a mad offer. You're hoping that it either takes a mad offer or he becomes so disillusioned with how the fans actually feel about him, he keeps it moving. But let's be real, this is a man who has been voted their most hated man, I believe this article said, in St. Louis at the time. Like you can ironically see here, skipping forward a bit, you know, he's moved teams from one state to another. You know, a couple of fans moaning outside the stadium, you know, is it really going to move him? I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just telling you, lot, the degree of a mountain we have to climb, like in terms of stinginess and just holding the football club back. Stan Kroenke is Barcelona level, so we're going to need to raise it. It's going to be a massive jump, and again, it's not going to change anytime soon. But the more we see these sort of articles, the more we keep making noise, the closer we might get people. It will happen, but we need to keep going, people. We really do need to keep going. You know, like S is saying, apparently Spotify stocks rizzed by $30 after the news came out. To be fair with you, you know, maybe a couple of eagle-eyed people made a little bit of profit, because as you can see here, you know, going back, you know, his shares added 5% after his news, and he made a calm 165 million for his personal fortune, people. Going back to the Kroenkes, though, allegedly the message that they will sell, where, you know, to be fair, Josh, everybody in Connected and everybody, the David Ornsteins and these things there, they say it's going to take a mad offer and that they're not going to sell, and that the man wants to pass this fortune down to his kids. And the one thing about Arsenal and the rest of the things he's married into and has collectively with his wife, Walmart as well, in that these are just pawns in his game, you know. It's just to make more money, more stadiums in other states, and do what the hell he wants to do. People, really, Arsenal is collateral, really and truly, because we've been very inconsistent and mediocre on the field. We're still an attractive proposition on and off it, and this is something he's been able to leverage for sheer evil, in my humble opinion. But apparently it's been described as a joke, people. Apparently, when talking about the thickness of hides, the consensus among zoologists is elephant, rhino, and Kroenke, in that order. So that, I assume they mean he's thick skin and he won't be moved by not being necessarily liked or disliked. The 73-year-old, you know, was dubbed the most hated man in St. Louis, as you can see, in 2016, after he moved NFL's Rams from the city to Los Angeles. And we all know people were made redundant, and we all know what happened to the mascot, and we all know collectively this club has not been showing this alleged class. Barnsley's American owner apparently said Kroenke won't sell. He's married into massive wealth with the Walton family and wants to pass Arsenal to his children. So the very fear that I and a lot of you have been saying for years is that, you know, he wants to pass it to his children, and Josh Kroenke will probably pass it down to his kid unless we can do something about it, you know. Do I get the vibe Josh Kroenke cares just a tiny percentage more than his dad? Of course, but it's not enough. And I don't think a son should ever be made to pay for the sins of his father or forefathers. But unfortunately, for me, call it what you want. You could be the most nicest man ever, but from I see that last name attached to you, for me, it's not going to happen, is it? You shouldn't really be here. And like we know already, he's married into extreme royalty, like he isn't a man said royalty, extreme finances with his wife, and he's obviously rich himself, people. So yeah, man, she inherited her father's stake in Walmart as well. So yeah, man, his net worth plus hers is 12 billion. So again, really, you know, unless it's something mad, they don't need to sell. They don't really need to make money like that, other than just being business people, and that's all they know, people. That's apparently 3 times EK's estimated fortune if he cashed in on all his Spotify chips, with a chief executive would find hard to sneak past the stock market. Apparently the Kroenkes and this is from another bit, apparently the Kroenkes on the other hand are an American dynasty, with son Josh Kroenke already president of the Denver Nuggets. And again, you could already see how if and when Stan moves on, you can see how Josh is being the president there, a silent investor at Arsenal, and whatever ventures they're part of, people like you can see here, it's a problem. You know, Josh echoes what we already probably know, in that his family have no intention of selling, people. So yeah, people, and apparently this is another copy and paste part. Apparently the Super League drama won't have any long-term impact on the American owners in the EPL. This was from Jordan Gardner, and a US investor who owns shares in Denmark's Helsingør and obviously Swansea and Dundalk of Ireland. Dundalk of Ireland, USA, investor, friend of the Kroenkes. Anyways, the dots are there to be connected, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. They've taken the reputational hit. Some of them have apologized. They're ready to move on. Guys like Manchester United owners, the Glazers and Kroenkes were not particularly engaged with their club, so I don't see the backlash affecting them much. It's highly unlikely any of those owners look to sell as a direct result of recent events, especially as now we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to COVID-19. We also got to remember, if we look at if we look at thingy, if we're real with ourselves, if we look at Joe Biden and those sort of tax laws, again, I'm no businessman, but these lot are American owners. Yeah, they own the football club and stuff, but they live in America, and you know, Walmart, you know, these sort of things are American investments. And again, do they want to make too many business moves in both in their homeland in America and out of it in terms of selling, without knowing how it could affect potentially tax laws and all of these things with a new president? I don't know, people. I really don't know. Moving away from all of that though, apparently, once again, I don't think any of the in brackets, I don't think any of the owners, let's just call it that, will sell. They will lay low and hope for it all to blow over, and that's it. That's why it's fans. If it don't matter if you support Arsenal, Spurs, whatever damn club you support, it's down to us to keep going. Again, they don't want to sell. Again, I just mentioned the potential tax rises. I didn't even get to this part really. I skimmed through this, so I'm just looking at it like that. It's gonna take a lot, but we need to make it hell. Even whatever we win, you have to just make it hell. Never let them have any cloud of doubt that regardless what happens, you're not wanted at this football club. Like I said, this is going to take a while, people. We're not going to see light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon, but hopefully we do. Please make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you very much, King. DG's always coming with good analysis, not gonna lie. Hey man, for every pound I would get for You're Not So Deluded, I'd probably get £2 for saying you live up to your name. Either way, I'd be a rich man, in it. It is what it is, you know. I wish I was. Then maybe I could buy this club, really. And you lot will get on to me like, why is he trying to be like Borussia Dortmund? He's just signing a bunch of kids. But moving forward, people, again, I'd argue there is always a price for the Glazers and Fenway. So Liverpool and the Glazers, again, they're dedicated to coin. But taxes rising in the US, that increases their arcs. Again, knock-on effect, which only leads to sovereign wealth funds. So again, unless you're essentially countries and things, or one of the top 50 richest people in the world, being able to afford any of these football clubs is a bit long. This is where Mr. CEO of Spotify is probably looking to create a consortium, use what's his face, you know, the Thierry Henrys, the Bergkamps, the Patrick Vieiras, to draw interest from maybe other investors. What I would hope, you know, he must have his own fellow footballing supporting investors that can meet him halfway. I think he can raise the capital. Just because his net worth is worth something more, a certain amount, doesn't mean that whole net worth goes on buying stuff. He can leverage that, you know. Let's be real. Just because Stan Kroenke is a billionaire, he's not going to buy an NFL team for X amount of billion. There's all different sorts of red tape and all of those things around it, people. And they're in it for the long run. They're in it. They're trying to make the Premier League. Actually, the only difference I would say between these Super League people and the Premier League is that the Premier League don't want it to be an international thing. The Premier League are more than happy to have it as a couple of clubs really monopolizing it. Yeah, we get a West Ham playing well. We've had Leicester winning the league and excelling, but typically, you know the sort of teams that are going to be up there, you know, so they don't really care, or they would do something about the Premier League and the spending that's been in the Premier League. It's only now teams are getting revenge. Say, all right, cool, United got stupid amounts of money. Give us 80 million for Maguire and let's see where it takes you, sort of thing. Apparently, they wanted collective bargaining and salary caps so that they can have consistent cash flows. And I don't agree with salary caps in any stretch of it, because why should someone cap your earnings? Are we talking, if we're talking relative, then let's be realistic. Somebody's not going to pay Mesut Ozil 300k a week unless he's worth that, whether you think it's on the field or not, whether that's due to marketing, whether that's making double on him for whatever he's given Arsenal. And that goes for several players. These players, these players are just pawns. They wouldn't be offered that much if clubs weren't making pennies on the dollar, sort of thing. So I think footballers deserve it because they're the guinea pigs, you know. And I just don't think in any walk of life salary cap should be a thing. Yeah, you can, if you're getting at the fact that there's a lot of money in football, maybe potentially too much. I understand that. And we need to look at the dynamics before you get to the wage cuts. And the knock-on effect could be relative if you was to get spending cuts and things like that. Off topic, man, you lot are violating. How is there only 80 likes and there's over 200 of you locked in? Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Moderators, members, keep driving that one. I need to see here. She's normally on the ball with that. But yeah, people, I don't agree with salary caps because for me, you know, the players would be stuck. Fans already getting, you know, taken for idiots and many things. And these guys would get even richer, you know. Even richer. That's what they want. They want to be able, they want stability in the wrong way. They just want to be the big players without doing anything, not give anybody money, and then again increase consistent cash flows, as you lot can see here. Like in US sports, players in NFL, NBA, and MLB receive 47 to 50% of the league's total revenue through a collective bargaining agreement. Some Premier League teams are paying out more than 80%. Apparently, in relation to the Super League, buried within the small print of the Super League contract was a commitment to a salary cap of about 55%. Why would all of these clubs take that? For reasons I've just said, and obviously COVID, save more money. Again, one of several arguments the founding members were always going to have to take to court. Americans investing in sport are looking for a system with the lowest risk and the highest financial return. Low risk, high reward. I don't know if that's necessarily the greatest of things, but that's what you get in relation to them folks, people. If we go on this one here, I've skipped a bit in this in this Spotify article on ESPN, people. It's more or less, you know, quashed rumors of Flamini being involved, which was one thing. You know, he's not thought to be a member of this group or consortium. You know, get into the thick of it. Arsenal is worth 2 billion. Why is Stan Kroenke going to want 2 billion? I only think 2 billion gets the conversation. He might call you back and things like that. As you lot know, you can look at my man EK's, and I would love to know how to pronounce that properly. But if you look at Ek, His estimated net worth is 3.4 billion. He can raise enough funds, but we need to remember, this guy took if you're Stan Kroenke, yeah, Arsenal have been failing. If you're really a real forecaster and things like that, you could see Arsenal are going to decline even more than we have. Clearly, he's seen that, and for whatever reason, he said, I want to keep it through the many reasons we've said. And he's just taking full control. What, in 06, 07, the man got his first clause into this club. 2018, more or less, he's taking full control. Yesterday, we spoke about how he rejected an offer from Usmanov, and Usmanov just let him buy him out, more or less. You're not going to go through all of that, be that patient, finally get full ownership of this club to run it in whatever way you want to do and give it up easily. You're not. So it simply has to, everyone's got a price. Now, some more than others. Clearly, based on what we just read with the Athletic, the Glazers appear to be more open to selling than Kroenke. It seems like Kroenke just doesn't really care about what happens to this club. It's just a family heirloom sort of thing. So yeah, and it's like you said here, exactly, commercial revenue, sales, the money that fans pour in because we're still supporting and these things, it's an asset, It's an asset. It's really and truly, our support of football is bordering line for mental illness, because in any other walk of life, in any other business, if it was a client to customer relationship, this customer service is terrible. Why would you keep spending your money and giving money and all of these things? But we all know football is emotional. So by that, my guy, it's illogical. For me, it's illogical. We get in situations like UNAI where financially we're invested, emotionally we're invested, and we might huff and puff and all of these things. But we're still going to care. And they know that sort of thing, people. They really know that. So this is a problem. And we've also got to remember, in relation to the guy who's taking this on, he's going to take Arsenal win where we're losing profit. And the financial stuff is an issue, and there's a lot of red tape. So at least for the first year or two, it's probably going to be a loser's game, and it's probably just about stopping the rot, mitigating against losses and stuff like that. So is the guy who wants to buy this club, is he taking that on board, people? I don't know. You lot will have to draw them conclusions, people. If we go over here, no, sorry, people. Let's go to here and see what's been said here in just terms of latest sort of stuff. It's more or less the same. I saw this today, so I thought, is there anything new? As you lot know, he said he grew up supporting Arsenal and things like that. So that's that in that regards. That really is that, people. So that's the takeover latest. We're gonna get into something else in a second. Let's go there and let's call it that. Again, now the big thing for me, people, listen, I don't know if it's because I'm a disciple of Arsene Wenger and things like that. But if I'm completely honest with you lot, people, I'm not a fan of artificial positions. When I look at it, I'm happy for, I want Thierry Henry, I want Bergkamp, I want all of these legends about, because when these players are walking through the marble halls, when they're at London Coley, potentially on occasion at Haylen, they always remember what Arsenal's about, how you have to behave like an Arsenal man or whatever on and off the field. And I don't think there's consistent reminders of such people. So I would like them back. But also, I don't believe in creating artificial positions. If there's going to be director roles created for them, then obviously the first concern for all of them, forgive me if I'm wrong, definitely where Patrick Vieira and Henry are concerned, is there any experience there? Which, again, it could be a good thing, it couldn't be a bad thing. Abidal took a role without being too experienced for Barcelona, and he's doing all right. And I wouldn't mind that, really and truly. It all depends how much influence, because Henry and Vieira, have you lot given up coaching back, your coaching aspirations now? Again, you could see how you could already, not saying they are sinister, but you could see how they could probably plant in their feet to potentially eye up that role. Obviously, I would like them in coaching, in a coaching position, not necessarily the manager, but coaching and that, like Bergkamp. I'd love you working with our young strikers and our attacking players in terms of movement and that. I would love Henry and Vieira in the dugout in some capacity, but I also have to worry about whether that's Arteta or not. When you've got those two big influences and people who are very vocal, as seen when Vieira tried to lead this club as a player, that can have a negative effect on the manager, whether that's Arteta or elsewhere. And also, what are they bringing to the table? Because I'm all for Henry and Vieira actually being directors and things, but what are their specific roles? And also, are we going to marry them, assuming my man came in, are you going to marry them with experienced people that can hold their hands and tell them stuff that they don't even know, which I think can, is one of my concerns about Arteta and Edu, specific to transfers, people. So I would like to know their roles. Are they just you know, the guy's selling the consortium and they'll take a back route? Will it be what the fans want, in that these guys will find some sort of positions? I'm keen to know, if this ever did happen, what Thierry Henry, Vieira, and Bergkamp's roles officially would be. And apparently Jens Lehmann believes the same as well. Apparently, former Arsenal goalkeeper Jens Lehmann says there could be a conflict of interest between Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, and Dennis Bergkamp, if Daniel Ek pulls off a proposed takeover of the Gunners. As you lot know, the Swedish billionaire, as said already, is worth a reported 3.4 billion, and he's believed to be preparing a lowball, I'd say, of a 1.8 billion offer to take charge of the club. Apparently, he's you know, his Spotify business is worth 51 billion, and apparently he's consulted with Arsenal legends Henry, Vieira, and Bergkamp about taking vital roles in the takeover, should Kroenke agree to sell, which probably isn't going to be the case, people. You know, and this is something I've had concerns about, people. You know, Lehman's basically echoed my thoughts and said there's a conflict of interest, because surely they're all eyeing the manager's job. Now, I like that pressure, but at the same time, it's self-interest. Let's be real. None of them are Arsenal fans. We're all in life governed by self-interest, and they're no different. So you can see the knock-on effect this can have. And again, as we've seen, I think there's too many clueless yes men involved in the club. So I would like some footballing men who, you know, let their opinions, you know, hang and things like that. But that can have a knock-on effect, you know. You know, very wrong and strong sort of if it goes the next way. But apparently Lehman has said, and I don't really care for the station he spoke on, but first of all, I think it's always great if someone is interested in a club like Arsenal. Secondly, I think Josh Kroenke and his father are still interested, and they like to make people happy, because I only met Josh a couple of times and he doesn't seem to be not interested in his club. What are you saying, Lombard? I mean, what are you saying, Lehman? You trying to make sure you're still allowed at London Coley? I see you. But what I said before, it's about competence, which we do not have. And exactly, you know, I love to hear Germans speaking about competence, because German people live and breathe that word. I always say consistency, confidence, and competence. Consistency to do your job. You can get confidence from, you know, training well, and be, you know, confidence comes from being consistently well. And competence, you know, if you're a director, can you deal with the contracts? Can you bring players in? If you can't do any of that stuff, it's dead, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. 285 of you locked in. But moving on, he said the guys that are there right now are good. I know the CEO. I know Edu, obviously, and they are doing it to the best of their ability. Bringing in guys like Thierry, Patrick, and Dennis would be fantastic as well with a new owner. But I'm not sure, because first of all, you need to know if Mr. Kroenke wants to sell the club. I am not aware of it. Maybe you know more than I do. Then if you have an example of three guys, they're all coaches or managers. So who is doing what there? There could be a conflict of interest or a conflict of jobs. Will they all be on the pitch? It sounds interesting, but at the end of the day, I would like to see how they're going to structure it. Facts, and that's it for me. When you get down to the nuts and bolts, you know, the glamorous arguably of them all being legends, it's a major part as to why I and a lot of you want them there, but it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant what you did on the field. It's about what you're doing now. I think, you know, I would like to see an Overmars come in, but again, you've got Edu there. I think that would be good, or a Van der Sar or something like that. I know he's got nothing to do with Arsenal. I would love one of Henry, Patrick, or Bergkamp, really. But again, you know, if Bergkamp says, I want to do up academy and training players and stuff, I'm all for that. If Henry said, you know what, I've tried the coaching thing, I want to sit on the bench like what I was doing at Belgium. All right, cool. Vieira, I don't know. You lot strike me as, you know, sometimes the best leaders are able to follow. Are these lot in their post-game careers, playing careers, able to follow the best? I'm not too sure, based on how you've seen how it went for Henry at Monaco and Montreal, just based on, you know, the clips that you've seen come out about he's talking to players, and that is just not happening. That's what I feel, people. So it is what it is. But I do share them concerns, and I would like to see it, because when you get beyond the glamour, the glitz and glamour of former legends coming back, and it's like, okay, cool, what are you offering now? It gets a bit political, people, personally, but it is what it is in that regards. Let's start closing some of these tabs and staying on. For those of you who care, you know, fair play to the owner. Let me zoom in a bit. Fair play to the owner. To the prospective owner. I've been an Arsenal fan since 1991 because of Anders Limper. Yet the despair, normally it's a roller coaster, this season has been something else. First real game I felt at peace, that was in 2018. Wonder what game that was about. I don't know off the top of my head, but it is what it is in that regards. Away from all of that though, folks, I should actually make another one. You know, whatever you say about David Luiz, it's lovely to see somebody is back fit. Apparently, while he might not be back, he's ahead of schedule, people. As you lot can see here, or better yet, David Luiz back in trading ahead of Villarreal clash in Europa League semi-finals. Going to be a tough game on Thursday in Spain. As you lot know, the Brazilian has not played since March 21st after suffering a knee injury, which required minor surgery to repair. He's been working hard to get himself fit, and now he's back in training ahead of pardon me, ahead of Thursday's game. So you know he's going to play no part. And someone who's plus 30 at the end of your career, you want to make sure you're fit when you're fit. Again, you don't really want to play around with knee injuries and have to undergo surgery and be under the knife more times than potentially. I actually think if Luiz was fit, I'd play him because I think he's a leader for everything else. And there's obviously rumours in relation to his contract, people. Apparently, the 34-year-old's contract is due to expire at the end of this season, and the Standard Sport understands that talks over a new deal have yet to take place. Arsenal may still come to the table, with the club planning to address several players' futures, and Luiz is relaxed about the situation. The Brazilian has a number of options to consider before deciding on his next move. He's keen to get into coaching when he retires, while he has also previously confessed his desire to one day return to former club Benfica. So we'll have to see what is happening in relation to the future of David Luiz, people. So it is what it is. What are you guys saying? Let me get into you guys' comments. Please make sure you're hitting that like button. We beat Crystal Palace 4-1 on the 20th of January. So that was that game. All right, cool. I've already offered my opinions on Balogun, my guy. I'm not going to go over the same thing, not to be disrespectful or shameless, but I've done a video on it where I've offered my thoughts plenty of times, and I did one yesterday, man. And that's the problem, you know, because if they're eyeing up the manager's position, I'm sure we've got a manager there already, or you'll probably bring in another manager, so there'll be problems, man. I know for trusting the process. MP, I hope you're doing well and safe. Federico is saying, good morning, DG. Abidal's role as director of football in Barcelona ended as a disaster. He accused players of throwing the manager under the bus. I made some terrible signings. So then you can see how inexperience can somehow cost you. You're right on that. As much of a control freak he is, I'd prefer Wenger be Daniel's primary point of counsel. I wouldn't mind that at all. Good morning, Deluded, my bro. My name is Toby. Do you think Flamini should help out since he's a billionaire? Well, it's unclear for his actual role. I mean, his actual net worth, or if he's actually involved in this. I would love as many people to be involved. But at the same time, probably not. He's not involved, is he? If Kroenke is only in it for money and apparently paid 1 billion, then surely making a billion profit has to appeal to him. I hear you, Paul. But one thing that doesn't strike me there's a difference between making a profit and a quick profit. Now, we know this ain't a quick profit, but when I think of Stan Kroenke, for rightly or wrongly, I just think of patience. And like we already know, he's married into dynasty. You know, it doesn't feel like the fan pressure right now is phasing him. So there's no real reasons to sell. Obviously, he's been involved in Arsenal for the long run. We could argue in 2007. Let's just look at it on the sinister thing. He saw that Arsenal was going to decline and that Arsenal would still be able to fleece fans, and said, you know what, let me do this. And arguably, you know, if somehow Arsenal improve, it's only going to work out good for him. So we're collateral as well against other business ventures. So we're under his mercy, mate. I think we've got better hope when Josh eventually takes it that he might leave, man. You know, I don't know for Tony Adams, but I wouldn't mind David O'Leary. I don't know for Tony Adams. Didn't he have his chance there? You know, I don't want people just because they're legends. That goes for Henry. That goes for all of them. You know, if you can give man, and you know, if you want to just employ legends for the sake of it, then you make man ambassadors. You give them ambassador roles. They can be at the Emirates here, there, and everywhere. London, Coley here and there, but they're not too much involved. If we're talking real nuts and bolts and trying to move Arsenal forward, then as much as I love Tony Adams, I love Thierry Henry, I love this guy, I love that guy, Vieira, Bergkamp. What are you bringing to the table specifically? You know, being a legend, cool. Let it be known. You know, if you want to be a coach, let it be known, sort of thing. It's crazy, man. But we have to see, man. We need long-term plan and vision from whoever is taking over Arsenal. Fans should be included in this process. 100% James, man. 100% James, man. Bro, listen. I don't doubt that Tony Adams would put the club before everything, but putting the club, having passion, it doesn't make sense in relation to being the best in that role. You know, it's not nothing to do with being a player. I think you're looking at it with a bit of emotion, you know, because Tony Adams had his opportunity to be a chairman or whatever he's doing, and it didn't work out for him. You know, just because you're Mr. Arsenal and things, whether that's like once again Thierry Henry, Tony Adams, all of these things, it's not going to work. You know, I'm sure there's some fans that could help run the club, run Arsenal positively. But there's also a bunch of fans who the intentions are right, but they'll run this club into the ground. And by the same logic, you know, they love the club. They're this, they're that. You know, we need competency. Do I think Tony Adams is competent? No, in that role. I would, if you could, again, if you could give him an ambassador role, I'd love it. Who doesn't love Tony Adams? But that's not what's going to move us forward, man. I don't see it happening anymore, man. I don't see it happening, but let's keep trying, man. We have to try in it. It's a die trying thing, man. Alfie, I 100% agree. I think Alfie said, I think it started to transition into Josh's project. I think so too, personally. You know, they could all easily be brand ambassadors as well, but at the same time, that's dead though. Like, if that's them, cool, but you know, bring them in, but then also bring in man that are serious. Because I look at Leeds, I want someone like Orta. You see what he's doing with Bielsa. Who is going to be that for us? You know, in the ideal world, we have an owner who cares, and we do things. You know, the sentiment thing is dead, man. You know, he'd be, you know, Paula could run the fans podcast and stuff, you know, maybe him and Robbie. You know, shout out to you, Hemel. You know, big up yourself. Let's talk Arsenal. Evening, DG from India. Big up all the Indian Gooners locked in, and good evening to you all. Do you think we should offer David Luiz an extension? No. You know, if the only way I'd condone it is if you're going to give David Luiz an extremely marginalized role, and he's just going to be a voice in the change rooms because of what we hear about him being good with the young G's and that. But I don't think it should be a thing. I don't think it should be a thing. You know, if we're going to get anyone that's old and past it by their own standards, you know, I know he wouldn't come, but let's chat to Fernandinho at Man City, man. You know, let's chat to them. Georgia said, big up Deluded, woke up and turned on the live here in Miami. I'm jealous that you're in Miami, but nonetheless, big up yourself, my guy, man. I appreciate you all. Love for all the engagement, all the likes, all of these things that are going. I'm just making my way through it. Saw someone say if we won the treble, they'd still be Kroenke out. Nah, man, I'd still want him gone, man. I'd still want him gone. I know it might sound like cap, but it's that's the energy we need, you know. He needs to be gone, like no matter what happens. Obviously, you have to forgive a man to a degree in that, but he needs to keep it moving, man. But then, you know, I'm sure you could introduce spending caps. You know, you can introduce measures for you know, for you know, there could be wage caps. Way before wage caps, sorry, there could be spending caps. You know, there could be cash flow requirements, cash balance requirements, certified holdings. There's so many things you can do before you get at wage caps. You know, if you want to bring in wage caps, fair play. I don't agree with it. I think it's immoral in life, but you know, I do think there's several things you can do before you talk about players' wage caps. I think it's way too easy to get at players, in my opinion, man. Julian said, about to go to the gym and rock your newest Spotify podcast. Hope it's good. Bro, come on, man. How can you hope it's good? DG always delivers. And make sure you're all aware of the Deluded podcast. You know, Spotify, Apple Music, and the rest of it. Make sure you're all there, man. We're linked with Paul Torres. Great centre half. Probably not going to get him, though, man. Khalid, what are you talking about, man? Ray Parlour was a certified player. He might not have been a main guy like that, but Ray Parlour, the wickedest thing, he was actually my guy like that, you know. So don't diss Ray Parlour. He's a certified guy, despite of what he, you know, off the field nonsense he's doing and just looking like a complete hypocrite, man. Bro, Overmars, I'm on that. He's got the CV to match up. He's been doing this thing, you know. I don't mind if you bring a one of Omri, a one of Vieira and these things, but it can get a bit long, man. If you just got man for the sake of it, man. That's a football manager thing. Like, you're just bringing back man for the sake of bringing it back. It just looks wavy. It looks like we're doing the Bayern Munich thing. But when you look at Bayern Munich, man, are experienced in certain roles. Like, man, yeah, you a Bayern Munich guy, but you're somebody else. So yeah, man. Big up yourself, my guy. What else is there to get into as well? Obviously, Leno's flavor of the month, people. I guess. So let's see what's being said online about Leno or reports in relation to Leno. Now, pardon me, people. I'm not gonna hide the fact. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again on record. I don't think Leno is good enough long term. Let me clarify that and say it in crystal clear terms. Do I think Leno is a good keeper? He's in poor form, but I do think he's a good keeper. Do I think there's a lot of problems at this football club before Leno? Yes. Do I actually think if Leno, which something he hasn't been given since he's been here, had a competent midfield defense and stuff like that, Leno would look a bit better? 100% I agree, people, with all of that. But at the same time, I think Leno is overrated across many aspects. There's no doubt, like Aubameyang, I think his form has nosedived and he's made way more mistakes than he normally has this season. And stuff like that. Also made some big saves, but again, shot stopping is shaky. Making spectacular saves if you're gonna punch it into an area for someone to score a tap in isn't gonna make sense. So I think he's not vocal enough. He's quite shaky. He's quite nervous, and that spreads to the rest of the defense. His handling is poor, inconsistent. Just not my cup of tea at all. Way too eccentric. Distribution can be terrible. From 2019, I've been telling you a lot about this, and he's gone through great moments of form, but I just don't think Leno is good enough. And at 29 odd years of age, the mistakes he's making, it's not certified. Do I think we should stand by Leno? Yeah. Leno made the mistake against Everton, and and that sums up Leno and why I would like another keeper. But fair play to him. More often than not, he's one actually doing something, and it just tells you how terrible our team is, because it's Leno this week, it's Xhaka the next week, is somebody else the week after that, if I haven't said their name. Apparently, Arsenal reportedly weighing up a summer move for Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper Unai Simon following Bernard Leno's poor form. Now, if you saw his mistake for Spain the other day, I'm sure nobody would, no one be looking at that. I would be looking at a keeper. I don't know even if the Stuttgart's guy is ready, and I don't just because we're mentioning keepers. I think the Stuttgart, that young Switzerland keeper, I think he will get a move one day. But yeah, man, we need to sign a competent keeper, because again, for me, when you look at our defenders, yeah, how good can we really become? None of them are good defenders, or we're not a great defensive side, or we're not the most switched on defensive side. So we're going to hit a glass ceiling. With Leno, I assume David Luiz, Rob Holding, Bellerin, I assume at right back, or Cedric. Shout out to Tierney and Gabriel when he plays. They're never going to be a quality defensive unit. At best, they're going to hit a glass ceiling. For me, I think you need a goalie, because, again, Leno's nervousness spreads to other members of the team. He's not vocal enough, and that, especially times where the keeper needs to come collect it or the centre-half needs to sweep it, I think there's an issue in that regards. I think Leno's not a bad keeper. I just don't think I think he's a number two. Like, I really do. And I think at the same time, there's a million problems to sort out before Leno. But I would probably pass on Unai Simon, just for me personally. But shout out to him. He's got 8 clean sheets this season. He saved the penalty, something Arsenal don't do too often. He's played 32 games, people. He's made many mistakes, as you lot can see here. Liverpool, Olympiacos, West Ham. There's too many, and we need to get rid of these error-prone players, because when Leno is good for 5 or 6, Xhaka is good for 5 or 6. Rob Holding, David Luiz. I like Holding, but David Luiz, better yet. As much as I like him, good to this thing. Bellerin, several players. You add in that. How many goals are you conceding? How many points are you dropping, people? Now, it's obvious why we're linked with Bilbao. Bilbao's goalie, obviously, it's the article has said here. There's a bit of, the fact that Arteta is Spanish and things like that. He's recently signed a new deal, more or less, that could keep him until 2025, and he's 23 years of age. So, again, there's going to need to be a significant offer. And as said at the start, West Ham, Borussia Dortmund, and Monaco are interested in him. For me, I think the question mark should be on Leno. I don't know as to why Leno's form has dropped. Maybe has he stagnated? Maybe he's been found out. I don't know. I don't think he's had any real competition. Personally, I don't think Matt Ryan deserved to be dropped in the latest game that Leno made an error in, but that's just my opinion, people. So make of that what you will in relation to Leno. Like I said, there's a million problems to fix before Leno, but we'll get to that level where you'll see it, people. And I hope Leno gets back to his form of last season per se. But boy, who knows? Oh, the hell happened there? Don't know what happened there, people, but that it is what it is. What are you guys saying, people? I want Saliba back. He looks great. He'll come back next season. He's still not all the way there yet, but he'll come back a bit more experienced thing. what have you said? Defenses aren't supposed to make a keeper levels. They should be able to make defensive look better if they're really levels. I'd say a bit of both, my guy. They're meant to they're both meant to complicate each other, complement each other. But 100% agree with you. We need to win Europa League. Nothing else matters. Facts. Always said, deluded speaking facts. The Omri, Vieira, and Bergkamp collab doesn't guarantee success. Emotions does not rule football. It's about competence. Trust me, my guy. Confidence is more crucial to keepers than anything else. Leno's lack of confidence at the moment is dangerous for our team. A great comment to be made, people. Ding, ding, ding. And Kevin, a lot of people have been speaking about the Spotify owner and say they're raising prices, they're not paying their owner, their artists, and all those sort of things. What have you said? The thing with Spotify not paying the artists, they're just a third party. The labels are the ones that need to pay their artists and musicians. Now, again, I'm sure there's a lot of question marks. And again, I do feel on the fence because on one hand, you know, I get why us Arsenal fans are desperate, and to a degree, we're just calling for anyone or happy anyone's invested. But I also agree and disagree with people who are like, oh, you can't just call for anyone. He could be this, he could be that, he could be the third. He very much might be, but at the same time, we have to take a chance. It's better the devil you don't know than the devil you do know now, man. Peter has said Lehman was all of those things, DG. He did have Solomon, Colo, and Deman in front of him, though. To be fair with you, we had a lot of shaky keepers. I thought Lehman was half decent, but he was prone to errors and moments of madness. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Bro, we've got no chance of getting Donnarumma, but we could dream. You know, I don't think it's going to happen, but we can try. And it would tie in with what we're doing in terms of longevity and all of those sort of things there, man. Love, I big up all the Indians, and obviously prayers for all the tough times you're going with. I've seen what's happening in terms of COVID and whatnot. If we win Europa League, it's a wrap in terms of selling the club. I hope so, my guy. But that, for me, why would you then? Why would Kroenke be like, okay, cool, we're back in the big boy leagues now. Boom, Champions League business. We're back in this. You know, we're stuck. And this is why us fans, we keep going, man. We keep going. Please make sure you're hitting the like button as he has. Bro, Lehman was on some BS as well, man. Lehman was on some BS, but Lehman was also had his certified moments. I can't lie, I don't know, man. What keepers would I say I'm not the most fond of? I'd say Almunia. I think Almunia was dog poo, blood. You know, you look at, you know, Lehman put us in it in the 2006 final, but you look at Almunia coming off the bench. You look at Almunia in a couple of North London derbies. You look at, well, letting Ronaldo score from 40 yards. Yes, it's a great strike from Ronaldo, but only Almunia is allowing that, fam. Almunia was on some... I couldn't believe it when I saw Almunia linked with playing for England one day. I was like, you look, oh, this guy's dead, you know? Like, oh, my word. Bro, Czech, you see, Czech, I don't, controversial opinion, unpopular opinion, I don't think Czech was as bad as people made out. I think he was a better signing, but he did nearly kill me as well. Czech had some suspect moments. What was that game? Can't even remember who, but I think he got a back pass and then he's just swiped it with his left foot and it's gone off for a corner, but it looked like it was going to clip the inside of the post, man. Oh, man, bro. Anthony, do you think we'll go 30 years without a title? Bro, we're heading in that territory. I want to tell you, no, bro, it's not going to happen and things. And on one hand, maybe it's a bit of Arsenal arrogance. I don't think that's going to be the case. But really and truly, you know, it's also arrogance and damn right ignorance and blindfold ignorance for me to just sit here and say, no, it isn't going to be the case. Because what am I seeing with my own eyes and touching with my hands in terms of Arsenal to tell you that that's not the case, man? Bro, I don't remember the last time we had a levels goalkeeper. I can't cap, bro. I liked Szczesny, but Szczesny, bro, he was prone to moments of madness. I understand why Wenger just called it a day with Szczesny, because it's just a straw that broke the camel's back. You see, when he was smoking against Southampton, he's just like, you know what? You're taking a piss, man. After everything I've done for you, you're violating. So I understood Szczesny just getting rubbed out, but Arsenal have a fetish for dodgy keepers, man. Like, hey, we love it. We barely love defending as a club. Why do you think since Tony Adams there's never been a certified centre half? If I'm real with you, you know, you look at half the defenders since him that have come out, you know, maybe more sort of recent years, they're all accidental ones. You know, Kieran Gibbs, he was an accidental left back. Maitland-Niles, accidental left back. You know, well, obviously we had Ashley Cole. You get the point. Even him, was he not a striker first and foremost? Things change, but of recent years, definitely since the Emirates, the defenders coming through, they're accidental defenders. You know, Bellerin. You know, he was allegedly a winger when he come from Barcelona. Position change. You know, we're not seeing any real defenders like that. Maybe that's a byproduct as to how we've moved as a football club in terms of playing pretty football and that. Bro, I couldn't, Arsenal fans, I couldn't believe Arsenal fans who rated Ospina after my man collected a corner and jumped at his own goal. Big up Seaman, David Seaman, that is obviously, but at the same time, after Ronaldinho bucked him, it was a madness, man. It was an absolute madness. Chesney had his moments. Don't get twisted. Chesney had his moments, but he was a bit mad. Manone, he actually had a second. He was all right. Like literally, I won't say half a season, but I'm sure there was a little stage he was all right. But again, not levels. Fabianski had a couple good moments, but again, not levels. Like, beaky guys, man. Hey, man, we've been through the trench. We've been through the war, man. Don't get me started on centre halves, man. Like, oh, my word. Hey, shout out Colo Toure. I see some of you. Wayne Campbell, shout to you. Why can't Suarez start in his preferred position? Any views on that? I don't know what I'm going for Arteta, my guy, with his fullbacks. I just have to assume he's on that City stuff. Koscielny didn't come through our academy, my broski. But going back to Wayne's question, if I can find it, apologies, Wayne. Where you gone? I shouldn't have done that. There you are. I don't know. I just have to assume Arteta's on this City thing with his fullbacks because 1 minute, obviously not Tierney or whatever, but it's like 1 minute he's just sticking with Bellerin, then he switched it up with the Cedric one. Then now it's a Chambers one. I don't know, man. Then obviously Maitland-Niles had his chance. I just feel when you look at all of them, none of them really convince it in it. I don't know. Maybe Cedric isn't doing something in training. Maybe his last opportunity, he didn't do the business. I don't know, my guy. I really don't know. But if I'm real with you, Chambers probably deserves to start ahead of him still. I can't even lie, but I'd say that, man. And maybe, to be fair, Suarez is probably going to get some football because he was playing left back if something happens, man. Bro, Saka was always going further forward, man. But still, man, Per never came through our academy. You know what? Another unpopular opinion. Mertesacker was never levels like that, but I think he was a better defender than man give him credit for. I actually think he was quite decent. Yeah, he got ripped hella times, but I actually like Mertesacker. Once again, Koscielny and Mertesacker didn't come through our academy like that. Like I specifically said, Tony Adams. I never said these guys that we've bought. Colo Toure was 30 as well. I liked Koscielny, but it is what it is. Man said Ospina was worth it for the chant alone. I hear you, bro. I hear you. I hear you. Before my time, Bob Wilson, man. Only know him as a coach, but I appreciate that. Sylvester was crap at Arsenal, so that's that. That's the thing. He's doing okay, but these things are stopgaps. It's like El Nene playing well for a second, man. We need consistency, man. This history lesson is hurting my chest. We sold Martinez, though. Oh, man. We love poor keepers. We love poor defenders. We haven't been respecting the defensive arts of the game for a while, man. Crazy. Absolute madness, man. Absolute, man. Bro, man said Sylvester. Banter, innit? Can't forget Gallas. You lot know I don't like Gallas already. Hate Gallas. Hated Gallas. They were panic buys, man. I swear we got Yossi Benayin them times as well. We had some serious basket deals, man. We used to do some gutter stuff. Andre Santos, we had some. We've been through the trenches, man. Shout out Arshavin, because Arshavin's still a big money signing to me. Sagna was 30. Sagna did his thing. You can have your hair anytime you want when you're like that, man. Oh, we're not ruthless at all, man. There's always hope that these guys come back. Would you consider buying Martinez back, or is that too embarrassing? Bro, at that level, realistically, it's just time to buy another keeper. Call the Martinez. I don't even care about selling Martinez, because I'm more onto Arteta, because you see, in an ideal world for me, it would have been Martinez and Leno. You, man, fight it out. Whoever is the better keeper, you're starting the games. Whoever's not, you're doing Europa League and all the cup games until something changes. But for me, I look at Martinez. When I look at him, he's a fighter. He was on trying to make it at Arsenal. If I looked at it and he said, you know what, I finally accomplished my dream, I can leave on a high. I've won FA Cup. I've been number one. You know, I've accomplished a goal. Now it's time to live outside of Arsenal. I understand him moving on or wanting to move him on if he wanted to leave, because he did say. I personally think it was made abundantly clear to Martinez, because, like I said, if you've been fighting for years to play Arsenal's number one and you finally got a hand on it, you're not going to give it up, really, this close, the closest you've ever been. So for me, it must have been made abundantly clear to Leno, between Leno and Martinez, that Leno is my number one. Like, Leno is playing majority of games. That's why I think Martinez has said, you know what, I'm keeping it moving. In which, cool, because that 20 million might have helped get Partey. No, Martinez ain't world class. I don't care that Martinez is left. It's just, give me a reason not to mention Martinez's name again. And Leno's nose dived off a cliff. And on the best of days, we were saying Leno's shaky. You know, we've been here over Leno and Czech. Remember, we had both of them, you know. So I don't think Arteta's covered himself in glory. You've doubled down on a player and it's not happened for us. Pardon me, you know. And this is, like Essential said, we were too set on keeping Leno as number one because we bought him to be. Defo should have made Martinez first choice. That's it. You know, it seems like we're scared to hurt feelings and that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Big up the Twitch gang as well. Where are we at in terms of likes? I've not looked at it once and it's been very engaging. 218 likes, people. We can do better than that, though. We can move ever closer to 300. Where are you guys? I've lost you guys. Guys, this only works if we can hurt Kroenke's pockets, embarrass him with empty stadiums and no merchandise. It's long. No point complaining about the owners if you're paying their bills. Don't quite think that's paying their bills, but fact. Do you think Arsenal should return to be more like George Graham ball instead of Wenger ball? Well, we can't do both either, man. Why can't we find a mixture of being hard to break down, going a one goal up in some games and seeing it out, with also playing beautifully, you know? Maybe I'm missing a bit, man. You know, Martinez did have passion. For me, what I personally liked about Martinez, where is it? What I liked about Martinez is he's one of them guys, and Chambers and Marie are good examples as well. They don't do things above their pay grade. Like, they know what they can and can't do. Like, Marie knows when he can and can't play that pass. Chambers knows he's not the guy to be doing certain things. Martinez knew, keep it simple, I'm not on the spectacular thing. I do think Martinez likes a spectacular save and Leno likes it more. But what I liked about Martinez is, by his own words, he liked to catch. That's something I hate about Leno. Leno likes to punch it too much. And sometimes he's mistiming the punch. My man's in no man's land. This ain't a Leno hate campaign. I'm just saying my opinion. I like that he likes to catch. I actually think his distribution, he might not necessarily be a better passer or distributor of a ball than Martinez, but I think when Martinez did certain things, there was more like clarity behind it. There was more sort of things, like, I'm sure. Another great point. Big up Mr. Cool Bus Driver. Again, he commanded the bus better as well. There was a goal in the FA Cup, I'm sure. I don't know if Aubameyang scored. I don't know if it was Pepe, but I'm sure Martinez starts it because he wins it quickly and he just bangs it. You know, I like that. I think Leno sometimes puts pressure on his team. I've said it before, people. We've all played football, not to this level, but Sunday League. How many of you have been part of a defense where the other team's all on top of you, you're getting destroyed, but you're seeing your keeper pop off 1-2 saves and, you know, shouting, F&L boys, what's all of this about? Come on. You know, that gasses you. That used to, big up George, my old keeper. That used to gas me. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I just got ripped, but he saved me. All right, cool. But how many of you have played with dodgy keepers? I've done it as well this season, where, you know, if my man goes past you or you get ripped, your keeper's on some other stuff, you know. I like when, you know, Leno does cool, but when Martinez, when the ball's over there, you can hear keepers. I don't get that vibe with Leno. There was one game, was it Marie or Martin or Gabriel? Leno's run out to it and he's not said a word, and then he's getting vexed. You know, these are the sort of things. To be fair, Leno's not a bad keeper. I don't mind bang average keepers. I've seen bang average keepers win the Premier League. It's just like Leno, he's inconsistent, isn't it? And he doesn't understand what he can and can't do, man. You know, this is it. The vocal thing, like, for me, that's what you need. You know, the keeper should be the captain of the 5 defenders, if that makes sense. The keeper's the eyes and ears of the team, you know. And sometimes your keeper can get you through it. I think Martinez, listen, I don't want to make this about Martinez because I think week in, week out, sometimes Martinez does some shaky things and it's not spoken about. He does some shaky things. But still, that's just me anyways. And I just think at the same time, Leno's just stagnated, really, because Matt Ryan's coming. You know, whether Matt Ryan is good or not, you know, it's abundantly clear, man, a second choice, you know. So I don't really think it. And it's like you said, Matt Ryan is very vocal, you know. That's, and I can't lie. I don't know. I know football's gone mad now, where we're talking about centre halves and we're talking about can they play with their feet. I know that's where we're at first now, but for me, goalkeepers need to be able to catch. Goalkeepers need to be vocal. A silent goalie is a dodgy goalie to me. You know, that's a very dodgy keeper, in my opinion, man. Bit harsh about 90%, but can't complain, man. You know, love for that. No clue why you can't comment, but shout out you, man. That's the yo. I knew some man are still gonna be on to LENO about them interviews. Bro, I'll be real. I don't know who they grabbing goal. I don't know, Matt. I don't know, but this is where's the scouting thing, man. There must be goalies, bro. Because it's only Arsenal that sit here and say this. When other teams are doing other things and they're finding next players, is where it is. Zach, I can't lie. I like this Mike you at Leo, the 25-year-old. But there's just something. I don't know what it is. There's just something. I don't know. Who told you Merida was a right back? He's a centre mid. Like I was saying with Mike, there's just something that my spirit don't take to him. Like, there's just something. I don't know if I need to see a bit more. Like I said, I'm no expert. There's just something with him right now at this moment in time in April 2021 that I'm just like, I don't know, you know. Morning, DG. Love, Julian. I hope you're good. You know, squad-wise, don't we have bigger problems than the goalie? That's something I've said. Way bigger problems than LENO, broski. Way bigger problems than LENO. 100% bigger problems than LENO. But, you know, sooner will come a time where we have to discuss that, man. You know. Yeah, you must be confusing him with someone, Sandro. But I don't know for that one there, but I just want a sickhead in goal, man. I just want a sickhead. I want a goal he can catch, and I want a sickhead. Because for me, I look obviously in today's day and age, goalie, can you play with your feet? Yada yada yada. I look for the obvious. Can you catch? Are you brave? For me, the main one is vocal and bravery. I want my keeper to be a nutcase. You know, you gotta be crazy to go and go anyway. So I need you to be a nutcase in the right way. Extremely brave. It sounds crazy, and not Leno, but I've seen some keepers move crazy, move gazy. Top keeper can make one blunder a season. Any more than that, he's not a top keeper. I think that's a bit harsh. There's 38 Premier League games plus, and I think whether you're a defender, whatever, you're gonna have good or bad games. But generally, I agree with the token you're trying to say. You know, the best players, they make a handful of mistakes where you can say, all right, cool, man, are human. It happens. Some man are making it more than others. And like I said at the start, the problem is bigger than Leno. It's just about looking at competency, because how can you claw points back beyond the collective obvious when you've got players collectively, and especially in key areas, where they're good for 5, 6, sometimes even 7 mistakes a season. Like I said, it's dangerous just one man having up to 7 mistakes. And again, statistics to prove, I don't know. But then you add in a next man, that's 14. I'm not even going to embarrass myself trying to do my 7 times tables, but you throw 4, 5, 6 of these players and you can see the sort of mistakes and how many goals these cost you and how many points. And sometimes that's a game you drew or a game you lost or a game you coulda, woulda, shoulda. And, you know, we've been down that beyond the obvious. It's making our task harder. Like, facts, man. Absolute facts, man. Big up everybody locked in, man. Allegedly, he did. You know, allegedly, he did have a reputation for mistakes. I'm not going to sit and act like I think Leno's been a bad keeper for us. I don't think he has. I just don't. I just think, you know, hit a glass ceiling. He's quite blundered. And one thing I think Leno gets away with, yeah, and I don't think it's all his fault, because there's 3 people to blame. Collectively, I think Arteta's to blame for going out of the Europa League last year. I think the players messed it up over the first leg. Aubameyang obviously missed that chance against Olympiacos after scoring, and that was spoken about. But you know what no one speaks about? Leno effing up in the build-up to Olympiacos. And again, I'm not saying this needs to become a Leno hate campaign and all of these things. You don't know, I don't rock with that. I'm just saying these are the problems. You know, when the pressure's on, certain man crumble. It's not just Leno. There's a few man in this squad. And we're not going to get over it overnight, but we can't carry the same guys and be in the same situation. This is why I'm like, even for Xhaka, I think Xhaka gets a bad rep. I think he could be a squad player. But I'm looking at Arteta now and saying, are you using Xhaka as a means to an end to, you know, and then when you bring in someone that can do what Xhaka does, but better, cool. Or are you actually rocking with Xhaka? Because I look at Xhaka, Bellerin, 2 years left on their deals. Leno, 2 years left on his deal. His number one sort of thing. Do you get it? Bellerin also, if I haven't said the same, you know, Lacazette a year. You know, guys you're using, I'm looking at them. I can't lie, Darlow's a bit shaky for me at Newcastle. He does his thing from game to game. You know, and this is it, Ben. This is it. This is why I keep saying it can't just be Leno. It's never just one man, but collectively, certain men are into the problem, man. It is mentality, but you could argue Leno typifies that. Every one of those players are part of that. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. I wouldn't say Merida was overshadowed by Cess. I just don't think he quite was levels and able to replicate that. You know, shout out to him. He had a great game against Liverpool a few years back, man. You know, Alfie, I understand that as well. There is this a bit of, I can see how Leno comes across as a bit arrogant, you know, and people could question his commitment. But with 2 years left, we need to make a decision. I probably would not sell Leno because I think there's a lot of problems. I'd look to make Leno second choice, at least for a year, but I don't think we're bringing in another keeper because the priorities for me right now should be the middle of the park. For me, centre half, back up left back. It goes without saying a right back. I actually think 2 midfielders, but that's probably dream chasing. Like Sia said as well, it also matters when the blunder is made. Facts, you know. You know, to be fair, G, I agree with you, but what have you said? Proof is in the pudding. The team plays better with Martinez in goal. He's very good with his feet and starts attacking as soon as he catches the ball. Selling him was 10 steps backwards. I agree and disagree and think that's slightly exaggerated. And what I will say is Martinez he caught being in the team at the right time. And to be fair to Leno, Martinez does have a smaller sample size. He never got a full season. 100%, I do agree with you about certain aspects of what you've seen. He is good with his feet. He starts attacks better. He makes quick decisions better. 100% agree with what a lot you're saying, but I do think we've got to be a tiny bit fair to Leno, my guy. Big up everybody locked in. I see one of you, the comments gone, but you said it's your first time being here. There it is. Big up yourself, B. First time viewer here. Everything really well said. I appreciate that, man. I like the look of Ivan Toney, but Matt, I'm not gonna lie. If I had the keys to make transfers for Arsenal, that would probably be one of those that I missed out because I like him, but it's one of them, and we probably won't be able to afford him. I want someone else in the Prem to take a chance, like him and Adam Armstrong of Blackburn. I like them, but it's a thing where let a next team take a chance and see what happens, sort of thing, because they're gonna ask 30 million of us, really. When keepers make a blunder and then try to overcompensate and make even worse mistakes, making the confidence negative spiral worse. Look at Runnison and Alisson, case in point. To be fair, great point. Alisson did have a moment at Liverpool where he was looking shaky. 100%. 100%. And this is it as well. It's like what I was saying, to be fair to you, there is times where I think people are just looking at Martinez with rose tints, but people forget. You've said people forget it was Martinez in goal during the 5-5 draw versus Liverpool, making dodgy decisions. Leno is a solid keeper. Alisson considered one of the best, and he made 2 blunders in one game. Every keeper messes up a couple of times. That is true, Joe. And I wouldn't quite say Leno is a solid keeper, but he's an okay keeper. But some make them more than others. You know, Alisson's mistakes are far in between, and there's also numerous errors, numerous times of him playing exceptionally well. I don't think Leno has consistently been great over a whole season. Like I said, to be fair to him, there was times we was getting drummed 3-4 goals put in, and we were set, and I was sat here saying Leno's our man of the match, which I believe that. But I have to keep it real. Last season, I was looking at and saying, you know, people like Leno and Aubameyang, they're 2 of their own players that are doing their thing. This season, I'm not seeing it from Aubameyang. This season, I'm not seeing it with Leno, you know, and it is what it is. That's just what I believe, you know. It's not a Leno hate campaign. That's just what I believe. You know, let's not take it over the top. Leno's defo better than Kepa, really and truly. You know, Alisson's got a better thingy. It is what it is. What's Paul said, big up the members. I don't believe many people had a problem with Leno. Neither did he make many mistakes before Martinez came in and got injured. Paul, I'd say you're wrong about that. I'd say just go through all of the season's highlights and look at some of the stuff he's doing, in my opinion, you know. But it is what it is. Everybody makes mistakes. I think we can all agree, some more than others, man. You know, and that's one thing nobody can mistake me for, and nobody should be. I'm not saying Leno's not a good keeper, you know. I do think Leno is a good keeper, you know, and I do sadly agree with you in that their man there should be fighting for the jersey. That would be best for us. It is what it is. I'm not crucifying Leno, but them man don't play for our team. Them lot are world-class keepers. Them lot are playing to a way higher standard than Leno ever could, really. And their mistakes are far and beyond. Leno makes them every week, 9 times out of 10, even when they're not thinking. I know this because you can see me tweet this. You know, everything I've said has come to fruition. You lot said I had an agenda about Unai Emery. You lot said I had an agenda about Lacazette. You lot said I had an agenda about Leno. Get out your emotions, please. Anyways, Alexandra said, do you view best player from relegation teams or the best player from promotion teams better? I feel we are looking at all the bottom Premier League clubs, but not considering elite championship other than Buendia. I don't think so. I think I think it's the other way around, really and truly. I'd say there's better players in it. If I'm looking at the bottom 3 Premier League clubs, I'll probably take a chance on more of the championship teams, like you said, the Buendias and all of these sort of things. I'm not gonna lie, Ben. Obviously, systems can hide a player, and we've got one of the worst systems. Mendy does look shaky at times, but I also think he's a decent keeper. I see what you're saying, Broski. Let's be fair. Leno has made several mistakes, but enough about Leno, though. Enough about Leno, people. Enough about Leno. What's this? Martin Odegaard, people. Apparently, Real Madrid have no idea, no clue about selling him. They don't want to sell him. Apparently, yeah, they don't want to sell him, people. Apparently, Zidane requested Martin Odegaard show patience before he joined Arsenal in the new year, according to reports. This is giving me a new article because this is not the one I was looking at, people. Let's go back. This is not the one. This is it. As you lot can see here, people, and sorry, let me add my timestamp. Where are we here now? An hour 30. Hey, time flies, people. Please make sure you're here for the watch along, people. Please make sure you're here for the watch along later. Chelsea versus Real Madrid. Check out the pinned message. As you lot can see here, though, people, Real Madrid to reject all offers for Martin Odegaard after eye-catching Arsenal loan spell. When you don't put a permanent offer in his contract, you're always liable for things like this to happen. Unfortunately, apparently Real Madrid chiefs are convinced they have a potentially world-class player on their hands in Martin Odegaard and have reportedly ruled out a summer move for the midfielder. Hopefully the 22-year-old can get another loan then, people. Apparently, it's gone on to say, well, it's talked about how he was at Arsenal. I'm not gonna thingy that. Apparently, on the back of these displays, Arteta pleaded with Arsenal's board to do everything in their power to extend Odegaard's stay beyond the summer. And there's been speculation mounting that the Norway international could be open to making his deal permanent, more so at the start because of the way he's speaking. But according to Spanish publication AS, Real Madrid have no interest in a summer sale and will not be entertaining offers with Odegaard tied to them for another 2 years. Well, they're going to have to tell Odegaard exactly what they want. What they're going to do for him. If Odegaard gets with it, not even necessarily Arsenal, he should be pushing to go to a Champions League club where you can play consistently and feel important, rather than this loan business, in and out the team sort of stuff. Apparently, Zidane was reluctant to part with Odegaard in the first place. And apparently the Frenchman's over-reliance on Modric and Toni Kroos this term has only strengthened their desire to keep hold of the young playmaker, people. Apparently, reports state Real Madrid's hierarchy are confident Odegaard can become a fundamental piece in Zidane's project and is one of the best in the world in his position. And this was always, I'm sure his priority is always to play there, people, because this was a relationship of convenience, as I keep saying. We needed a midfielder to do the creative stuff. He needed a platform to play. There it is. So we're going to have to see what happens in that, man. There's going to be a lot of subsequent articles saying he's 100%, he's coming back to Arsenal. He's not going to Arsenal. He's going back to Madrid. They're selling him to the highest bidder. It is what it is in that regards, people. We're going to see. You're fully right. Every player does have a price. And when you consider Real Madrid are in debt, they probably need money and things like that. It is what it is. You can't blame them. They should be looking to keep hold of their assets. So you can't really blame them and stuff for stuff like that, man. I would love to let him. I would love to let him stay for another year on loan if possible. But what have you said? I do not think Real Madrid would have let Odegaard leave on loan if there was a buy option or obligation. You never know, man. Don't forget we need a striker. We should make a move for Ivan Toney. He's a top goal scorer with 29 goals. I don't quite think we should move for him, but I do think Arteta wants a striker. Need more fans here in the USA to make make noise. Joshua said article looks fugazi, 100%. I think Brewster is better than Nketiah. Well, one thing Brewster does have in his CV is that, he's actually bagged a lot of goals in the championship. Eddie hasn't quite got that. I don't think much of an Irish striker, to be perfectly honest with you. Is where it is in that regards, man. What else are you guys saying? But it doesn't have to be better than Odegaard, Realistically, we probably can't get better than him, but that doesn't mean you can't get a good player, You should be looking at other players. You should be looking at creativity because Odegaard isn't our player. We should be able to consider the reality that we might not get this guy. It just feels like Arsenal and Arsenal's fans, when we're linked with one player, that's it. Like, it all became our. It was all Partey or nothing. It's all Odegaard or nothing. It was all Buendia or nothing, Scout some players. If you can't sign household names, find someone that can be that, Hey, do you got, you know, you're South American, make something happen. Like, if we had a clear scouting network and things like that, you know, once upon a time we was finding these guys and they're still out there. It's just a bit harder, you know. We did, Anthony, and it's, you know, it's crazy, man. Don't quite think Arsenal are losing their pulling power because we should have lost it already, but I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Fair play. I think Kieran Tierney. I'll admit Brendier is a bit on the tiny side for my liking, but if we were back in 08/2015, we would have a player like him. Ceballos taking 5 extra touches, running around in a little circle, then passing backwards doesn't help. Fair play. Back in the day, we found diamonds in the dirt. Just feels like we rely on one transfer too much than having options. Facts. You know, check out Sandro's music. He's just dropped his stuff them on all streaming platforms and channels and them things there. Type in his name and show a fellow Arsenal man some support, people. Do you think Arteta will play Balogun on Thursday? I think Balogun will be involved in the squad, but as to whether he will come on, I don't know. Hopefully, we always cheer on the Haaland boys, but I just think when there's pressure on, Arteta reverts the type. So, you know, I do think you're just going to see the usual suspects again. We're hoping Aubameyang's training again and whatnot, but I'd love to have him, man. You know, and that's the problem, you know, unless you're Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG now, you know, you can't really. I like the approach of if we can't grab this guy, I don't want anyone else, but we can't do that. You know, we cannot do any of that, really and truly. You know, we need creativity when we need to be able to find one. At the end of the day, it's a game of football. It's not, you're not finding, you know, scientists in that. Just find someone who can control a ball, pass through the lines. It doesn't matter if they're playing in England or Siberia. Go and look and find them, because what? Odegaard was in Norway at a point, you know. Haaland was somewhere, you know. Lewandowski was somewhere in Poland. You just got to be able to look, and we have no clear scouting or platform of scouting. So it's silly, man. I've got full faith in Smith Rowe and Odegaard, but what we shouldn't do is have over reliance on one man. You know, Smith Rowe goes through loss of form, it's been injured, all of these things, and it reverts back to type. You shouldn't ever in a squad rely on one person to do one thing, man. I think Balogun and Tyrese John Jules, they're both 2 certified players in their own right, and I think they both have a great opportunity of making it here. I appreciate your love for the channel. I really do. I like Pereira. I'd probably pass, my dude. What have you said? What do you think of a front three of Martinelli, Saka, and Balogun potentially in the near future? Well, if Balogun proves he's certified, why not? It should be an option, you know. It should be one of the many options we can do, man. You know, is what it is. Bro, like you said, Lewandowski was at Lech Poznan. Sam Allardyce was going to sign him for Blackburn. If Sam Allardyce can find him, are you telling me you can't do this, man? Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm not too sure what you mean, Peter. I'd love for you to explain. You said, DJ, I hear you, bro, but what if Barcelona had that mentality towards Messi, Iniesta, etc.? They've come through their academy, so it's a bit irrelevant. And when you're amazing players, you're obviously exceptions to the rule. Odegaard's an amazing player. He might be world-class one day, but he's hardly a generational talent, with all due respect to him. He's a good player, and I think people need to not see that as a criticism. Good players are there all the time to find. There's a few, you know, you're not going to find too many Messis, Neymars, Mbappes, all of these things, if this is what you're saying, you know. So there's obviously exceptions to the rules, but there's a million players, man. And again, we shouldn't be over relying on one man. Once again, my guy, you know, that's Messi, that's Iniesta, that's Neymar, that's Mbappe, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. You're naturally going to over rely on them. But you know, Messi's the showman, but they had Dani Alves, who at a point had the most assists. They had Iniesta and Xavi, who also had their moments. You know, it weren't like Messi's the guy and Messi made it the difference, but it weren't alone. Like, none of them examples are they alone, you know. So you marry a squad together. If it was just a bunch of shit players and Messi, you know, you see what happens when he plays for Argentina. So it's a Mazzolini there, man. You know, it really is. And for me, I want Odegaard, but again, you have to be able to prepare for the worst. And the worst is that the very thing this loan was designed to happen is what happens. He says, all right, thank you for playing me, Arsenal. I'm going back now to Real Madrid to play. Or Real Madrid say, nah, F that. Or Real Madrid say, you know what? Everybody's interested in my man. Nothing personal. It's just business. You got 25 million. Them man there are saying 55. Boom. What are you going to do now? It's not good enough to sit there and say we tried, because suddenly Smith Rowe gets injured. You're back to a flat midfield three. And even for Arteta, I think he's accidentally fixed the creativity, because he weren't really playing Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe got in December, he's taking his chance and ran with it. We had to do something in January, because that Ozil thing was just lounging on. God knows what will happen if we fixed it in January. We've tried many different things. So there's an issue there, man. There's an issue, man. This is what I'm saying, my guy. There's talent out there. There's players out there. Every day, every week we watch Prem, we say, wow, how's that player coming? It's crazy, man. Us, I don't want that Conference League thing, but man said conference cool. But it's gonna happen, innit? Like, it's gonna happen, my guy, innit? Like, I don't want to be in Europe full stop, man. And I know it's gonna have a knock-on effect for the club, but I don't want to be in Europe full stop if that's the case, man. God, that's a new low, man. But what channel is that going to be on? That? How do you manage to get into a tournament below the Europa League? You really have fallen off a cliff, really and truly. Don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know how I would know that, DS, but mate, ask him. Maybe Aubameyang will kick on next season, my bro, but we need him to kick on this year, man. If you can make the decision, would you go 40 for Odegaard or 20 for Buendia? Well, Buendia's not costing 20, but I'd probably... Oh, you know me, I love a deal, my guy, man. I love a deal. 20 mil for Buendia. That might mean change left over. I'd probably say 40 for Odegaard, though, man. Dead. Zaka said, as unlikely as it is, if the board do a madness in the summer, do you think that'll be enough to get our fans on side? Probably, because we're fans that give credit where due. We give credit where due, but at the same time, same energy, bro. I think, if we want them and they're out, they could sign Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe for us. And I know it would look silly if they did and we'd be moaning, but we got to. It's the same thing. We give credit where due, but they got to go regardless. There's nothing else now. Nothing else, man. Big up everybody locked in. 274 likes, people. Let's get to 300. 427 people watching. Support the channel. I appreciate that. Aaron, he's never going for 20 million. He's costing 40, maybe even 50 now, because they have no intention of selling him, because they're back in the Prem now. They could be saying to Wendy, yeah, you can go Arsenal, but you can play here for a year. Who knows? City might buy you next year if we go back down or whatever. Stay. If Norwich didn't get promoted, then obviously we've got a leg to stand on, really. I don't mind it if I don't know, just say you had 40 million right now, before I just say anything, just say you had 40 million right now allocated to Odegaard, and that's your money for Odegaard. If selling Joe Willock for 20, 30, Maitland for a 20-odd, and Nketiah for a 20-odd, doing what you could with Guendouzi, if these selling these sort of guys would allow you to bring in Buendia as well, I'm all on it, because let's be real, I do think we need number 8s as well. We've got Odegaard who can play as an 8, Smith Rowe as well, they can play on the wings, but we need 8s. We need 8s, because how many times have you seen Odegaard, Smith Rowe, our wingers, they're dropping too deep, like you saw. Suddenly, Xhaka is not playing in midfield anymore. He's playing left back. We're struggling. We need creativity. Creativity used to be in abundance. You look at City. We're not City, but they can create from every damn position. Would you describe Cancelo as creative? Not necessarily, but probably. Would you describe Ederson, even their second choice keeper? They can create all over that field. That's something Arsenal need to get at, man. I would take Overmars at Arsenal, because, again, Dutch, been at Arsenal before, knows about this thing, experienced. Again, see what's happening. I agree with you. We need some. I don't think this is happening, but we can keep trying. 3 more likes, people. Let's keep it going. I would love Basuma. And like I said, we need an 8. We need some 6s. We need, if there's games where we're gonna be thinking being outclassed in terms of possession, then we go with a Partey and an 8. Yeah, I mean a 6. There'll be times you use either or if there's form lacking, or whatever. If there's injuries, like you've seen, Partey gets injured, we're back to square one essentially. It's like there was no signing brought in. So it's what it is, man. Please make sure you're doing up the likes, people. Big up M. That's a fantastic display picture as well, man. Smith Rowe needs his contract, man. He needs that contract, man. He needs that new deal. Boy, he was beaky, innit? Daniel West. That was a beaky one, man. Thank God You know, but hindsight's always a wonderful thing, man. Hindsight's always fantastic. 316 likes. Let's keep pushing to 400 people. Appreciate that, man. Daniel has said Kroenke ain't selling even if he's forced to sell, yet he clearly doesn't want to. Man is hated but doesn't care since the cash is still rolling in. Facts, Daniel. Unfortunately, I'd love to say you're wrong, but that's that. But us as fans, all we can do is just keep making noise, man. You know, David said, big up DG, American Gooner here. From a business standpoint, I think KSC will sell. The massive wage bill, profit loss, and more to come, even if we lose in the semis. I never want us to lose, but hopefully, but there's probably still being green being printed somewhere along Arsenal's balance sheet. And really, he's had a number of amazing years when we were qualifying for the top four, and it's, if we look at it on the balance, it ain't been a couple to me, but for want of better words, it's only been a couple years we've been really failing in their regards. Did you get it? So maybe he will, maybe he won't, man. I hope to God that you're right and we could sell it. We could sell him. You know, I see Smith Rowe again, Khalil, as being an 8 long term. You know, I think Joe Willock is at 8. You know, he's playing better in that 8 role than he was in that sort of 10. I think Joe could be all right in the squad. I'm not sure if he could be the first choice, but you get the point, man. Alexander said Rams lost the Super Bowl and got a new multi-billion stadium. He's not selling. There you have it, man. There you have it. There you have it. It's quite upsetting, man. It really is. Who would you prefer, Odegaard and Sabas, as long-term options? I'd rather Odegaard. I don't think Sabas has done enough to justify, even if it is 18 million euros odd that's being quoted, keeping him permanently. You know, 18 million might as well be 180 million because of Arsenal's lack of money. So we can't afford to spend that incorrectly. And I don't think Ceballos, if you want to do another loans thing, Arteta, I don't agree with it, but cool, do your thing. I don't think I've seen enough from Ceballos consistently. You know, I haven't seen enough. And I think that's sad because when he was coming here, I was gassed for him. I was gassed about Ceballos. Pardon me. You know, what have you said? Our property portfolio and commercial revenue is what's keeping us afloat. Sad facts. You know, I'll take Joe over L sideways. Joe has found his level and it's Newcastle. Ceballos won't even have him on a free, fam. He's nothing but I'm not sure. I'll take it for free still, but he isn't it. I like this Okan. That's the final brother in it. I think he's decent still. Out of all our players on loan, only Saliba and Willock should come back. Aye, man, there's Guendouzi there. Small hope. Maitland-Niles just says, you know what, I'm a right back. You know, is what it is. But that is what it is. I can't lie, though. We've been here for an hour and 26 minutes. I'm going to get out of here, people. I'll be back later. Obviously, tomorrow, tomorrow we'll get into the preview, Villarreal versus Arsenal. Today I'll be doing a watch along for Real Madrid against Chelsea. I'd love to see you all there. Information's in the pin message. Gonna have to love you and leave you, people. It's lunchtime. I'm getting hungry, people. So on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. I will leave you with one more though. What do you make of El Nene's comments? He's right. He does deserve support, but at the same time, we need people allow criticism. Joe Willett does give a goal threat, but again, there might be a lack of quality there. Make sure you're all tuning in for the watch along as well, people. I'll catch you lot all later, man. Take care, everyone. You know, you lot make me sad about leaving, man. The way you lot always say bye and that, you know, it makes me not want to leave, man. But I'm gonna have to love and leave you. I'll catch you lot later, man. I'm out.